Yes, sir!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
It is my pleasure to offer you the opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Arkansas.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo Pig Suey.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Oh, it's finally starting to feel like winter. Rain, possible snow, and freezing temperatures across most of our listening area. Maybe even a little lightning and thunder. Hopefully not the sort of thing that knocks me off the radio here as we get into a Monday on Halftime in week number 2 of Sam Pittman's tenure as the head football coach at Arkansas. Phil Elson here and Ty Richardson in the studios. You get with us today, as always, on the Cherokee Casino Hotline, 877-377-6963. And Sam Pittman is making the rounds, the media rounds. He made the rounds of recruits last week. I think he'll continue to do the same this week. Made his first hires on the coaching staff, had the big splash that we got into on Friday of hiring Barry Odom as your defensive coordinator, and already that feels like some sort of a recruiting win. Certainly it's a coaching win for Arkansas. And now today I heard Sam Pittman on the Morning Rush, and he had lots to say. This goes along with the territory of after you've been introduced to the fans and you go hit the recruiting trail, make some hires as a head coach, you got to go talk to the radio shows. So I guess that puts the radio hosts, Ty, exactly where they belong, behind the fans, behind the recruits, behind the players. But it's definitely one way to get your message out with the listening audience, and of course all of our stations air all the football games, so why not? And it was a nice conversation. And I know the first question that John asked Ty was one I've been wondering about. It's like, how the heck have you slept at all? As even if he had the time to sleep, I think you can tell the excitement level for Sam Pittman has been way past 100 on a 100 scale. And so I'd imagine it'd be kind of difficult for him to sleep even if he had the time to sleep. The thing right is now is I don't know many head coaches in college football that have that much time to sleep the week that the early signing period begins. But then again, not every coach is putting together an entirely new football staff like Sam Pittman is doing.
And that, again, begins on Wednesday, and it'll go through Friday the 18th through the 20th. And we'll get to what he said on the Morning Rush about that early signing period, how it's really hurt this recruiting class, him coming in so late. But, yeah, he said he's averaging about 4 hours of sleep a night, and that's probably a little generous to what he's actually getting. It's not, he's probably sleeping in unorthodox places, whether it's a plane, whether it's the car, wherever it may be. He's doing the best he can to patch this recruiting class, and not only the recruiting class that you're trying to bring in, but also talking with current players on the roster, convincing him of his plan moving forward, because that's one of the things we've mentioned many a times. You not only have to bring in new recruits to this Arkansas football team to turn the program around, you got to keep the guys on campus as well. And there's going to be many people, regardless if it's the SEC coaches or coaches outside of this conference, that are going to be trying to pick off what they look like wounded deer when it comes to some of these players that they feel like would be beneficial to their programs as well, Phil.
Well, certainly you're recruiting in state now. It's one of the things about Barry Odom that stands out. This is a guy that I think Pittman pointed out might have been recruiting better inside the state of Arkansas than the previous coaching staff. You know, a lot of kids on that Mizzou team that come from the natural state, or players that he had taken off of Arkansas in the case of Jonathan Nance. Just seems to be a guy that understands Arkansas. And I think that Odom and Pittman obviously understand each other. Otherwise, they wouldn't be working together right now. But I didn't realize, Pittman had made mention in his press conference last week that he had been offered offensive coordinator positions at least a couple of times. I didn't realize that Barry Odom was one of the coaches that had offered him that very job. So there's already that built-up trust, I think, between the two of them. And now, I mean, talk about trust. How could you not trust Barry Odom with half of your team, with the way that his defenses have produced and performed, both as a defensive coordinator and as a head coach? So this is as good of a hire as you could possibly get. And to be quite honest, and I don't mean this in any negative way, because I think the more I think about it, the hiring of Sam Pittman as the head coach really does make a lot of sense. But hiring Odom as your DC may have even been a better hire than Sam Pittman as the head coach.
I can't remember what article I was reading, but they were saying that the hiring of Barry Odom was ranked ahead of the hiring of Sam Pittman. We'll see what ends up happening in this season and seasons to come, but that's been kind of a thought out there. So Phil, let's go ahead and get into this sound. We'll start with what you're talking about with Sam Pittman and what it's like for him to have Barry Odom on his staff as a head coach.
What's happened in the last 3 days? It's bouncing things off of him from recruiting, scheduling, when to let the staff off for vacation. Certainly, I have my opinions of things, and he's been a guy that say, this is what I want to do. What do you think? This is what I want to do. What do you think? Yesterday we had a meeting, and we both were on everything, and it's something simple as we need the lanyards for our recruits' parents, something like that I did not think about. He did. He's going to have a lot of value in a lot of different areas.
I mean, it's a huge hire for Arkansas, and you hope that there can just be some change of the guard when it comes to the defense, because Arkansas needs to have some stalwarts on that side of the football. And I think that it's going to start. We've talked many times about how Sam Pittman is going to really instill a toughness in the trenches, especially with the offensive line. You hope the same can be said about the defense with Barry Odom coming in and Phil.
Hogfins and Alma asks on the Cherokee Casino text line, asks if Barry Odom has any players either on Missouri or recruiting that might come with him. Well, we already have this Ray Scott, who's I think an offensive line recruit out of Memphis that Pittman and Brad Davis visited last week. And he had committed to Missouri. He's now, I think he had an official visit this past weekend in Fayetteville. So right then and there's one recruit that had said he was going to play for Barry Odom at Missouri, and now he's looking at Arkansas. As far as the players that are actually on the Missouri roster, I can't speak for any of them. I don't know anybody that would be looking to join him at Arkansas right now. And honestly, if you're already playing for another SEC team on defense, is Arkansas the place that you want to transfer to right now? Maybe there's some playing time available. Colin Clay did. I thought Clay would be a starter next year. Clay has put himself in the transfer portal. One of the two names that stood out either over the weekend or late last week, who are removing themselves from Arkansas Razorback football conversation, or the team in general, along with Nick Starkel. So you get one graduate transfer now gone, and the most vocal of the freshman class is also going to be gone.
Which, again, he's not 100% going to be gone. There's still a chance that he can come back. We saw that with Devin Bush. But just when you see someone enter the transfer portal, you just automatically assume that's going to happen. And one of the things we were talking about to open up, Phil, is the player meetings that Sam Pittman's going to have. Mm-hmm. He says he's got 39 today.
How do you get your roster to know you and then able to get some guys signed on Wednesday? I had a meeting with them Sunday night, and then I had a meeting with our kids on Friday morning, and then today I have 39 meetings. Tomorrow it's probably about the same, and Wednesday it's probably about the same. I don't know how you know your roster until you meet with them face-to-face, so I have 39 set today and about that tomorrow and then a few on Wednesday. So at the end of Wednesday, I'll be able to know our roster a little bit better. I've probably met with 20 of the guys now. We've had some attrition. I want coaches, administration, football players that want to jump in the foxhole with us. We only want people that love the Razorbacks and want to be here.
Some good questions from John and Tommy on the Morning Rush, but it's going to be essential to retain some of these guys that he has some fundamental things to say in this meeting in terms of his vision and what he projects them in his vision moving forward, because you got to retain this team that's currently in its state, Phil.
So that's going to take away a lot of Sam Pittman's time that he might have had to sleep. If you're interviewing 39 players, you got 24 hours in the day. You got to give them an average of 37 minutes per meeting. So I imagine he's going to be sleeping just a little bit of that. But these are obviously extremely important conversations both ways. It'll be an important conversation when you get over to Breeden RV in Van Buren and talk to them about getting a new or used RV. They'll help you pick your deal as well. Breeden either pays your sales tax, gets you 6 months, no payments, holiday cash back, or more for your trade. The deal that works best for you will work for Breeden RV as well. And, of course, you get that sweet Breeden exclusive free maintenance for life with every new RV purchase. That's Breeden RV on Alma Highway in Van Buren, also at BreedenRV.com. 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. Don't go anywhere.
Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
So let's go to the Cherokee Casino hotline and welcome in the head coach of the Razorback football team, Sam Pittman.
The difference in me and maybe anybody else, recruiting is going to have a high emphasis in this program, and it's the only way you can change what you have. And again, I'm proud of what we have. We just need to add to the roster.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Kohler & Green Insurance in Fort Smith. Just call 484-9888. And Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren. Call 474-9888. And online, KohlerGreen.com.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
December is trading time at Rath Auto Resources. Hi folks, Larry Rath here with our last big promotion of the year. Trading time. With tax season just around the corner, we need your trade. So we're giving up to $3,300 above Kelley Blue Book value when you trade your old ride for a nicer, newer car from our Rath Road Ready inventory. We'll even buy your car. That extra money can go a long way toward helping you get more car or reducing your monthly payment. Plus, if you're one of those waiting on a tax refund, your wait is over. Ask one of our friendly non-commissioned solution specialists how our TaxMax program can get you access to your money now. If you're keeping the car you have, let us get it ready for the new year with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires or a basic oil change for only $24.95 in our Meineke Car Care Center. Start driving better today with Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center. 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Wheeler Power Sports is your go-to shop for your gift-giving needs this holiday season. They have the all-new Stasic electric bicycle along with youth-size ATVs, side-by-sides, and dirt bikes from trusted brands like Polaris, Kawasaki, and Suzuki, so all the young adventure seekers will be covered. Looking for gear for the rider in your life? Wheeler has the biggest selection in the area of motorcycle helmets, jackets, and gloves, so we are sure to have the right fit for any age or style. Wheeler Power Sports, 901 North 11th Street in downtown Fort Smith. Family-owned and operated since 1967.
Hi, this is Melissa with True Grit Running Company. Searching for stocking stuffers for the runners in your life? We have lots of options including socks, headbands, shoelaces, water bottles, gloves, hats, and more. Want to buy them a pair of shoes but not sure about size or model? A gift card is always the perfect size. And you're not just giving a card, you're giving an experience. They'll receive the personal attention and True Grit fit we're known for. Find the ultimate gift today at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
This is ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
And there's a steal by Northwestern State. Tristan Washington drives. Dumbia knocks it all the way into the Gucci seats. Oh, my goodness. What did that ball do to Rokia Dumbia to be treated like that? Well, I didn't realize we were going to get into that one right now, Ty, as he takes something from yesterday's Arkansas women's basketball win, 99-39 over Northwestern State. So it's like, you know, all right, so we beat Tulsa by 50 on Wednesday, says the team. You think 50's bad? How about 60? And fall just 1 point short of 100. And it's not like nobody's disappointed about it, but it was funny to watch Ty Stevens miss the 2 free throws. First of all, it was funny to watch Stevens even take the ball to the rack with 6 seconds to play and up on Tulsa. What was it, 98-79? That was the score at that point. You could see Coach Muss. I mean, at that point, he sits down on the bench and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, don't show this team up. They're already getting blown out, but Stevens went for it and then puts up 2 of the ugliest free throws you've ever seen. Ethan Henderson gets the chance to stick it back, couldn't do it. So everybody walked out of Budge so disappointed that they fell 2 points short of 100. Just like we all walked out last night just so upset that Arkansas scored 99 instead of 100.
I was sitting in next to Bob Holt and Tom Murphy in the media room, and I was like, no chance a guy like with the name Ty hits these 2 free throws. Like, he's definitely going to choke. They gotta...
You would have hit – hey, I would have put you at the line instead of Stevens watching his form. He must have felt pressure because how could a kid like that look that bad at the foul line? I know Stevens is a better shooter than that. You would have probably done better, Ty.
I have done 2 of these shooting contests during halftime at Bud Walton. I've also played at Bud Walton a few times. I will say it's a lot harder to shoot there if you're not consistently playing there because the backdrop screws up your vision and your like depth perception. But I feel like I would have at least made one of the free throws. But he did have some pressure on him, being that it was his 2 free throws could get them to 100. Ultimately didn't. But yeah, it was a bad look for Ty Stevens because those, like you said, those were just bricks. They were not close to going in at all. So.
Well, and then there's the call that you came in with, which I know we'll get into later. It's not every day, as I put on my Twitter, if you're not every day that your call makes it onto SportsCenter Top 10. And there's a steal by Northwestern State. Tristan Washington drives. Dumbia knocks it all the way into the Gucci seats. Oh, my goodness. What did that ball do to Rokia Dumbia to be treated like that?
Wow.
It was like watching a volleyball kill. That's how Aaron put it. Aaron Portman, the voice you heard at the end of that call, my partner for the women's basketball home games, and a former Razorback from Van Buren, right there in our listening audience. That's exactly what it was like. It was like a volleyball kill, all palm, no fingertip, nothing like that. And you know what Rokia told me after the game, Ty, on the radio broadcast? She said, I'd asked her if there'd be a point where she could dunk. And she said yes. She wants to dunk during a game. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to put it past her. If she can work on palming it, if she can hold that ball just long enough, she is up above the rim. I don't think there's a doubt she could pull it off.
So you had 2 good outcomes for both the men and women's basketball team this week, Phil. Obviously, we're just talking about how the men's team almost got to 100 in that. I think people are just really excited for both basketball programs right now. We've mentioned several times how they've managed to do it in different ways. The men's team has done it more on the defensive end, and the women's team has rarely been able to be stopped when it comes to their opponents trying to hold them down. They've done it, and I think you're only going to see more and more fans show up during conference play with both teams because it's only going to get better. Because we mentioned the sellouts for the men's team. You got 3 Saturday sellouts, and they're approaching another one, I think, with Texas A&M.
Hey, I mean, almost 16,000 at the game Saturday against Tulsa. I mean, that's an impressive crowd. 12:30 in the afternoon. Their state championship football games. Obviously, no other college football games except for Army-Navy. but almost 16,000 at Bud Walton for a non-conference game against Tulsa. That's buzz right there. I mean, that game draws, what, last year, maybe 10,000, if that. And you know, for the women's team, I feel like everybody's waiting. It's obviously going to be a different level of buzz, but, I mean, the crowd yesterday was just under 3,000. And I think that fans that are at least aware that Mike Neighbors has the women's team trending way upward, and right now they're ahead of the men's team as far as how they sit on the national scene. You know, you're sort of waiting, I guess, for wins against SEC teams before they really start, you know, I guess, buying in with their entertainment dollar. So I don't know. I'd like to see some crowds of 5,000 to 6,000 to 7,000 in January or in February, but I think it's going to take a handful of SEC wins to pull that off.
There's a couple good quotes following the men's win against Tulsa, and I'll start with what Mason Jones said after the game. Apparently there was a little trash talking beforehand, Phil.
When people start talking trash, so it was just a different type of vibe today in the game. You know, they called us out. They came to our locker room talking trash, running through it, so, you know, it was just a different type of energy from the jump, and we wanted to set the tone. They said they'd come here to be a road killer, and I respect that and all, but, you know, you got to show us a little respect, and we felt like we wasn't getting respected. So we all took it in upon our hands to just be like, come out ready to play, show energy. And having Coach Muss lead the charge and show us like, okay, he ready. It only forced us to get ready. So his energy today was amazing. The coaching staff energy was amazing. It was just different. Because, you know, we wanted to have a bounce-back game. That was the two words we heard every day, bounce-back.
Well, I mean, that was a huge bounce-back for the team, and more than anybody for Mason Jones, who was 1 of 9 from the floor in the loss against Western Kentucky, and then goes 12 of 18 from the field, 12 of 13 from the foul line. So that's definitely a bounce-back from him. Now, all right, so this trash-talking stuff from the Tulsa men's basketball team, This catches me by surprise because of the change in the way that they bring the visiting team onto the floor this season. Because up until this year, at least in my experience at Bud Walton Arena, both teams came out through the same tunnel, through that tunnel behind one of the end zones, one of the goals. Mm-hmm. And the men's and the Arkansas locker room is pretty close to that end zone, right? So now this year, they've changed it out. If you notice, the visiting team is coming out from the tunnel at the side behind where the television broadcast table is set up, and Arkansas comes out from behind the goal post or the goal standard. That means Tulsa had to walk out of their way to make their presence felt and heard in the Arkansas locker room. If it was last year, they would have been walking by that anyway on their way to the court. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there would have been smack talking at that point. In this case, they seeked out Arkansas's locker room so they could talk whatever trash Jones was talking about.
And I think it was Dusty Hannes that was telling us that they used to go into the locker room at half at the same time, and then they separated. The visiting team would go first, and then Hogs would fall, because I believe against Mississippi State there was a little trash talking in the tunnel, and things got a little heated. Since then, they have not gone in at the same time. But I have no problem with that. I think it's good for college basketball and college sports in general when there's a little extra oomph. And it obviously motivated the Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturday. And they were already motivated enough coming off their first loss of the season. You gave them added incentive, added energy, and you were burned in the process. But, again, I have no problem with it. I hope the rest of the way there's conference teams and particularly Kentucky and stuff that start chirping at them before the game, because it obviously helped. They played out of their minds on Saturday, at least from the offense standpoint. Defensively, they are better as well. Must touched on that in the press conference, but the motivation factor was big, Phil, and I thought it was interesting. One of the quotes that I really took away from the press conference from Musselman is the fact that he felt like there was true people angry, like the locker room was hurting after that Western Kentucky loss.
You know, I wanted them to taste that loss like our staff did, and I think they did. I think they were really upset in that locker room at Western. Like, we had guys that were really hurting, and as a coach, you want that. Like, you don't want to walk into a locker room or get on a bus or get on a plane and hear laughter and guys just blowing it off. That plane ride, guys were hurt, and the bus to the plane they were hurting, in the locker room they were hurting, and that's what winning cultures are.
Phil, did you take that as a shot to the football team and Coach Morris. Some Arkansas fans did. That's what they pointed to. I didn't take that as a direct link to that. I just took it as this is how they acted after the loss, and this is how they responded. What do you think about that?
I didn't take that as a shot at the football team at all. I took it as a true statement of what that team felt like after a game that they felt was in their grasp. I mean, it was right there. That's the thing that made that loss so painful. It wasn't that you lost a game on the road. I think you go on the road and you end up laying an egg and you trail most of the game, and you just didn't have it that day. I think you're able to at least accept that. When you've got a 5-point lead, last 60 seconds on the road, winnable game, a game that you played, as Musk said in that press conference, they played 39 really good minutes. And then 6 minutes they'd like to forget. And, of course, the first of those 6 minutes is the one that essentially cost you the ball game. That's where the pain comes from. Mm-hmm. And I was more interested in watching Arkansas after a loss than getting a whole string of wins, because it's about how it's the tone the coach sets. It's the tone the coach sets. And if you think if Muss is saying that the players felt that pain, can you imagine what he was like?
Oh yeah, and it was amplified. And I can only imagine if like their levels here, his level is just so much more farther above that, which is what you want as the head coach of your basketball team.
Brought to you by our friends at the Fence Man. And if you own a business that needs more security or just more curb appeal, a new fence from the Fence Man can give you both. They specialize in custom installations and been doing it for over 40 years. Gates, controlled access card readers. The Fence Man can be over for a quick, no obligations quote. And all you got to do is call 479-782-3936. Ask for Henry at the Fence Man, a division of Quantum Property Services. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back with halftime right after this.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
We wish you happy holidays from Breeden RV in Van Buren, where the year-end clearance sale continues. The holidays can be stressful. Why not take that stress away with the newer used RV? We'll even jingle your bells by letting you pick your deal. Sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, more for your trade. You choose the deal that's best for you. Remember, every new RV comes with Breeden's exclusive free maintenance for life.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Thanks, Eddie. Come see us on Alma Highway in Van Buren or visit us on the web at BreedenRV.com.
See dealer for details.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Being the family superhero is a tireless job, constantly defending against monsters in the closet and grass so tall it swallows small children. But who's there for them if you're not? Your local Shelter Insurance agent. With an insurance superhero sidekick, you can find a life insurance plan that helps provide a safety net for your family. Learn more at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Shelter agents Ted McAvoy or Jeff Clark about a free insurance review.
Hey dads, do you have an athlete in your house that is looking to take their skills to the next level? XL Speed Training at the Fort Smith Athletic Club has the proven results to maximize your athlete's potential. Designed for both male and female athletes of all ages and various sports to improve mobility, endurance, agility, and vertical jump. Take your game to the next level with XL Speed Training. Call Mike Johnson at 479-926-0193. That's Mike at 479-926-0193 at the Fort Smith Athletic Club.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing, and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
This is ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Knocked away by Joe. They push it forward to Mason Jones on the floor, and he lays it in. Joe kept it alive. On his stomach, he just pushed it to the other end of the floor. Jones picked it up, laid it in, and we've got a timeout on the floor. Hogs are on a run.
Well, that's a couple of the 23 points that Arkansas scored on 13 Tulsa turnovers Saturday afternoon in the 98-79 victory. Isaiah Joe with 20. Mason Jones scored 41, and he's been named SEC Player of the Week for the second time. So that wouldn't be a surprise. He did a lot more than just score. 6 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, stole the ball 4 times. You know, Jones leads the SEC in steals. Mason has stolen it 20 times, number 1 in the SEC.
How about that?
So,
Z always touches on the broadcast as an underrated defender. I'd say that's a stat that's pretty telling of that particular statement, Phil.
877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline. Carl in Lavaca says he tried to give an update here on Kyrie Walker. Apparently Walker's still trying to close out his studies in Phoenix so he can graduate early and then make up whatever decision he's going to. This has taken a long time, by the way. I remember talking about Kyrie Walker like 3 months ago of the possibility of him making some sort of oral commitment during the fall. Here, I guess it's still the fall, but it feels like winter outside, and still no update on him. But Carl adds, it's great to see Mason and Zay do what they do, but he doesn't expect that they can carry the load every game. Still need another score, and you do. And right now, Jimmy Witt is that scorer with 11 points, third on the team in the win on Saturday, and he's also third on the team in scoring at 14.5. And he scores in ways that Jones and Joe don't. You know, I mean, Mason Jones does it from long range, and by getting to the foul line, he does drive quite a bit, gets to the hole. Isaiah Joe from the outside, and then Jimmy Witt doing it from 7 to 12 feet away.
Barbecue chicken.
It's that patented turnaround jumper. Okay, what's the barbecue chicken thing? What does this mean on Jimmy Witt?
Oh, that's a Shaquille O'Neal phrase when someone's in the post or in their sweet spot or wherever it may be on the basketball court. That's something he said. Him and Charles Barkley have said on Inside the NBA. And Jimmy Witt's mid-range is definitely barbecue chicken, Phil. Absolutely.
Hey, if Shaq is giving it the thumbs up on barbecue chicken, I'd say you eat whatever chicken he says to eat.
Phil, speaking of food, we got a text here out of the 501 on the Cherokee Casino hotline. I know Charlie is one of the guys that goes out there, but there's some tailgaters out there for basketball games. It's a tradition. I know I just sent you.
Bold, very bold.
Yeah, it's going to get cold, obviously, but I think it's pretty cool. They're tailgating Lot 73, and they plan on doing it through January, and I'm guessing through the other games as well. Again, Arkansas does not play at Bud Walton Arena until January 4th, a Saturday game against Texas A&M.
Jeez.
They got Valpo this Saturday in Little Rock. Then they go to Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana, when they take on the Hoosiers. So it's going to be a while before you see a game at Bud Walton Arena. But if they can, I mean, they're just going to win on Saturday. I'm just going to go and put that out there. But if they can somehow, some way find a win in Indiana and come back to conference play with only one non-con loss, people are just going to be ecstatic about this basketball team heading into SEC play, Phil.
I'll tell you, for right now, though, and it's such a small sample, so it's tough to tell, but there's a decided difference home and road with this team right
absolutely.
now. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, look, you could point to the same to like 75% of college basketball teams in the country. I mean, you want to point to any sport where there is such a discrepancy between performance, depending on where you play in. College basketball, for me,
it's a good one.
Is at the top of the list. So, but Valpo's got a couple of games in hand. They play tonight. They play Wednesday. Arkansas with the week off. I imagine that with the crowd they're going to get at the arena with no teams, now called Simmons Bank Arena, the last time I checked, and I checked a little over a week ago, there were just like a smattering of tickets available in the second level. You know what the atmosphere is like in the one game in Central Arkansas. It's outstanding, tons of fun. I think they're going to come out and play a great game because this team feeds off of the crowd. I think they've done that. They've done that in the few big crowds at Bud Walton. I think they will on Saturday. But that's also one reason why if you go to Indiana, they're going to have 17,000 there, and they will be tailgating at Indiana for basketball. That's just a way of life. I just don't know if that travels right now. So it'll be an interesting couple of weeks for Arkansas basketball, no doubt.
And that's consistently been that way, not just under Eric Musselman so far.
Oh, it was a big deal under
Mike Nolan, and it wasn't. I think people made it out to be more than it actually was, but even like Nolan and Mike's team struggled on the road because you tend to get certain calls when you're playing that type of style at home. You don't necessarily get those on the road. It was Stan Heath and John Pelfrey, and I couldn't tell you about Eddie Sutton's road record when those teams would go on the road. But as you're saying, it's just a thing in college basketball, and I think that you just hope that they not bounce back, but they continue the streak against Valpo, get it to 2, and you're not going to be bummed if they lose to Indiana because Indiana's looked pretty good at times this season if you've gotten a chance to watch them play, but you would just be elated if they somehow came away with the win. And the Texas A&M at this point in time is not sold out. They beat Indiana next Saturday, sold out. Like no way that game's not sold out if they beat Indiana next Saturday. And I know that's, again, we're 2 weeks off from that game, but people are just so happy right now about this basketball program. And we hadn't gotten the meat of the schedule yet, so just hold your horses when it comes to that. But, I mean, I don't know how you can't be excited, not just the men's, but the women's as well, Phil.
Well, basketball definitely is leading the pack right now for Arkansas sports, but football generates most of the money, and a lot to figure out on the football end of things right now. So you got to figure out who's going to be the quarterback, because the quarterback room, just like the running back room, is devoid of really almost any meaningful experience, and that would be if Rakeem Boyd forgoes his junior season to declare for the NFL draft. So now just look at the quarterback room. And it's not like I thought Starkel would have competed for the job next year just because he was, a warm body with an arm that was strong. And you think if he's got an extra second or so from his blockers, he might deliver the ball well. But obviously different thoughts. So Starkel's in the transfer portal. So without him, there's Lindsey, Jones, Jefferson, kaput. You couldn't even take Dalton Hyatt off the wide receivers and back into the quarterback room because he's ready to transfer too. Ben Hicks has exhausted his eligibility. So I know, everybody wants Jacoby Criswell to decommit to North Carolina and announce on Wednesday at 9:30 in the Morrilton High School cafeteria that he's going to be a Razorback. But he still has his profile on his Twitter feed still has him wearing a North Carolina uniform. I guess I'd be surprised if Sam Pittman can get into flip right now. But here's the thing. I mean, it's almost like what Chad Morris was able to recruit to this past year's class. You got some ready-made playing time for you because you're really going to have to compete against one player. Right now, it's KJ Jefferson, who I think already is anointed next year's starting quarterback, depending on if anybody else decides to transfer in, or if Jacoby Criswell, who will enroll early, decides to be a Razorback.
And initially when Nick Starkel said he was leaving the program, it sounded like he was going to pursue a pro route, whether it was the NFL or XFL or whatever it may be. But since he's in the transfer portal, his mindset, or if that was what he was thinking the whole time, has obviously changed. And I wonder, Phil, with Sam Pittman mentioning the RPOs right off the bat, that he wants to employ some sort of that, did that just say Starkel's like, well, that takes me out of the equation. I don't need to be here. I need to be more of a pro style or passing attack. So that's one of the things I wonder, and if he just felt like his time in Fayetteville was done. Because I'm kind of with you. I would think he would compete for the job next year unless they just go to like a triple option, which they're not going to do. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But again, as it pertains to not Starkel, who's the other guy that's in the transfer portal, Dalton Hyatt and some others, you can still come back, just like Devin Bush has. So he could decide, I think I made a mistake. I'm going to come back to Arkansas. So we'll see what happens with that. But I heard Clay Henry talking about this morning, and I forget the game that he mentioned, Phil, but there was a point that Arkansas had like 2 or 3 quarterbacks go out a game. You can't have a depleted quarterback room in the SEC. You got to be locked, loaded, and ready to go. We saw with Alabama losing Tua. It's one of those things. You got to have depth there, man.
Mike in the 501 sent us a text that's pretty interesting. He asked if we think Starkel will follow Barry Lunney to UTSA. And honestly, I mean, Starkel's had 2 chances now in the SEC. I'm not sure if another Power 5 school is going to take a chance on him, or vice versa. Maybe San Antonio would be a viable landing spot for him to finish out his career. Road Chevrolet is a viable spot to get a great deal on a truck or car from Road Chevrolet. David Neal wants to invite you over and get a look because they got employee discount going on all month long for everybody. Remaining 2019 Silverado Z71 crew cabs up to $15,000 off, and the new 2020 Chevy Equinox is up to $6,000 off. That's Road Chevrolet, exit 2A off I-540 in Van Buren, and roadchevy.com for more details. We'll close up the first hour after this quick break.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
Due to public demand, Eagle Crest Golf Course will remain open through the winter months. That's right, Eagle Crest Golf Course is still open, and you can still enjoy one of the best courses in the state with winter rates. Just $35 plus tax, card included, to enjoy the beautiful bent grass greens and the best views of the River Valley. Eagle Crest Golf Course is open, and it's only $35 to play. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Forget what Santa says. Everyone is on the nice list at Road Chevrolet this Christmas. Hi, it's David Neal, and it's employee discounts for all on select new Chevrolet vehicles. We have savings up to $15,000 off on new 2019 Silverado Z71 crew cabs, and we have the new 2020 Chevrolet Equinox up to $6,000 off. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Employee discounts for everyone at Road Chevrolet. Exit 2 off of I-540 in Van Buren. RHODES Chevy.com. Find new roads.
See dealer for details.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Christmas times are coming.
That special gift this year should be a room makeover from the Paint Store in Van Buren. They have packages for a kitchen, bathroom, or living room. Or why not all of them? Gift certificates can also be customized. Give your wife, family member, or great friend a super surprise gift of a room makeover this year. We can also help with recommendations for a reliable contractor. The Paint Store in Van Buren is always the place to go. Go see them today at 1414 Fayetteville Road for your room makeover gift certificate.
In the moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with who? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In the moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Kohler & Green Insurance in Fort Smith. Just call 484-9888. And Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren. Call 474-9888 and online KohlerGreen.com.
This holiday season, give your loved ones the best present a sports fan can get. An excuse to drink beer, eat wings, and watch games all day. Buy $25 in gift cards and pocket a $5 bonus to Buffalo Wild Wings for yourself. While you're being brilliant, ask us about our party menu. Don't miss the fun part, the party part. Be the host with the most and serve Buffalo Wild Wings while basking in the glory of nailing. 'Tis the season for wings and cheer.
Watch out! It's the sideline! The Jet! Touchdown, Arkansas!
Attention Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members. Do you need a better internet provider? One who treats you like a member and not a number? Then check out our new fiber internet services from Wave Rural Connect. We are bringing state-of-the-art, high-speed fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. If you are an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we we serve.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
This is ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Hawks got to go to work on the offensive end. Pick and roll. Bailey with a two-hand jam. Oh, Adrio from Jimmy Witt. It's 57-44.
Close out the first hour on Halftime. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, if you want to get with us all throughout the show. 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. We've talked about Barry Odom being on staff at Arkansas. We've talked a little bit about the fact that the transfer portal is now, I wouldn't say filling up with Razorbacks, but some names that you might have expected might stick around. We got into some basketball stuff. Let's go a little more with football here. So Steve Caldwell apparently will not be remaining at Arkansas as the defensive line coach. That, according to Tom Murphy and the Democrat Gazette, makes a lot of sense. That comes after Barry Odom was hired as the defensive coordinator. And at this point, you know, I know Sam Pittman gets the final say on who's on his coaching staff. Mm-hmm. But at this point, don't you say to Barry Odom, here you go. This is your half of the team. Go ahead and look for the coaches that you trust, that you want to work with. Just give me the final say on that.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. And since you're talking about that, I'm going to go back to a clip from the Morning Rush this morning on how he's going to be a coach, his coaching style, and when it comes to being a CEO and kind of delegating responsibilities, Phil.
I have, in my opinion, the best defensive coordinator hired in the country. In my opinion, I have the best offensive line coach hired in the country. That's what a good CEO or head coach or whatever, you might term does. I'm going to let them coach because I wanted the head coach to let me coach. I'm also going to have my insight on every position on the team, and I'm going to be highly involved with special teams. So I hired coaches to let them coach. That's why they're here for, and if I feel like they're the best in the country, that's what I should do. But I certainly have an opinion. I want to stay out of the way of the small things is that I can talk to our coaches about to get fixed, but I'll be directly involved with every position on our football team.
And, Phil, I think that was an answer to Tommy asking the question about how he would go about his offensive line and if he would get in, if he would get involved and stuff. And like every other head coach, if he sees something he doesn't like, he's going to get involved. But to your point, you just let, kind of like you're saying, you let Barry Odom hire who he wants to hire. If you trust him that much to be a good defensive coordinator in this league, you kind of have to trust him when it comes to helping hiring assistant coaches as well, Phil.
Well, and that's where it's like Pittman, I think, told Hunter Yurachek during the interview process, and this came out of the public. He said, I know I can build a good staff. That's the first thing that a head coach has to do, is build a staff that he trusts, that he trusts enough to let them do their jobs without micromanaging. And I know Pittman said that he'll be involved in every position on the field, but there's a level of involvement that the position coaches get that almost no head coach gets with. So for me, this is it feels like he's already changing his perspective on his entire life as a coach. You know, this is something I've gotten into previously. And why I think, and this isn't to criticize Missouri's hiring of Eli Drinkwitz. It seems he's a pretty good fit for that program where that was an offensively challenged team. They got somebody to come in and fix the offense. They'll hire somebody to fix to take care of the defense, or at least try to keep it on the same level. But this is all about, like, experience that he's had throughout his career and the Rolodex that goes along with it. Now, Drinkwitz, I know, is a fantastic offensive coach. a great coordinator and did very well his first year as a head coach. But his Rolodex does not match the Rolodex that Sam Pittman has. By the way, Ty, do you know what a Rolodex is? It just hit me. This is something that no millennial has ever had in his entire
Generational
life.
gap.
Okay, a Rolodex is your phone where all of your contacts were your contacts were inside of it. But it was a thing that with every contact had a card, and it was stuck into this roll, and you would roll the thing so that you could see the last name of the person and then get their phone number. Doesn't it seem like something that just makes no sense now?
Now that you mention it, my dad has one of those things.
He still uses it.
It's very rare, but for addresses and stuff like that, he still uses it. But I didn't know what it was called until this very moment. So.
It's a Rolodex. It's really now we know it now as it's called the Contacts app. That's what the Rolodex is. So anyway, I mean Pittman's Contact app or Rolodex or whatever it is, or Little Black Book as it has been called in some other cases, is probably larger, significantly larger than Eli Drinkwitz's. So you've got these relationships with coaches that you've either coached against or recruited against or coached with, or in Pittman's case with Barry Odom, got offered an offensive coordinator job, and you have this wide base to choose from who you are interested in bringing to your staff. And when you're in Pittman's case, where you've coached for almost 30 years in high school and college football, mostly as just a position coach, you've seen what all these other head coaches have tried, what's worked and what hasn't worked. You've got these ideas in your head that you've never really been able to implement, and now you can. And I trust that. I trust that for a 58-year-old man who is, I don't think he's near the end of his career right now, but at the end of his tenure at Arkansas, that will be, I would assume, the end of his coaching career. So I mean, this is the stake that his legacy is built upon. When your life is leading up to this big deal right here, right now. And I know with Drinkwitz and with Kiffin, their lives have taken them to the jobs they have right now. These are not going to be their last jobs.
Yeah, and I think what you're referring to is the ride off into the sunset, the idea that he wants to bring this program back to prominence, and then he can retire in Hot Springs, Arkansas, on the lot he's building on. If he ends up going somewhere else, doesn't matter, but that's the idea. And the Rolodex you're referring to, Phil, the fact that in just his second hire, he gets a former head coach, a guy that's well respected defensively in this league, and now is heading up that unit. That shows to go. And again, we gotta see how he rounds out, because we've seen before you can have good defense in this league, but you gotta score some points. He's talked about that. We need to score some points. This OC hire is crucial. Now we've been asked the question by a couple of our listeners, Phil, which is more crucial, the offensive coordinator hire or the defensive coordinator hire? Well, it looks like you're pretty settled in terms of the defensive side of the football with Barry Odom. Now the OC hire is just kind of up in the air. He's also going to need to nail this as well. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to get a former head coach, because I think you have that kind of stocked up already in Barry Odom, but you do have to get a guy, regardless of what system or whatever one, that can mesh with what Sam Pittman wants to establish, and that it can ultimately score points, because we saw an offensive guru come into this state with a lot of accolades and fail. You can't have that again. You have to get this offensive guy right. You can't have what you had with Joe Craddock and Chad Morris. You got to score some points. You got to be attractable to recruits, not only defensively, but offensively as well.
And I think he said on another radio show in the state that he's lined up his offensive coordinator interviews for the next couple of days, and I would assume you'll have the offensive coordinator chosen and hired and announced by the middle of the week. And I'm not saying that with any inside information. That's just a fact. That's the first thing you got to act upon, is build that staff. Got to get your coordinator set. You got one of them down and one more to go, and that's the next thing on Sam Pittman's plate. So that'll be the next thing to pay attention to. And I guess you wonder if he'll look to maybe another head coach, but it's not like now you need a former head coach to lean on for any of those, one of thousands of decisions that a head coach makes every day, because you've got a guy like Odom that Sam Pittman already has this relationship with. So do you go with more of a young up-and-comer as an offensive coordinator, or do you hire somebody who's been more established or someone that knows the SEC? That's the other thing about Odom that might stand out in terms of maybe like a Rich Rodriguez. where you've got somebody that has experience in the SEC over the last couple of years, and, I mean, immediate experience from this past season. So maybe that's overthinking a little bit.
No, I don't.
But wouldn't it be interesting, though, to have a first-time head coach have two former head coaches as his coordinators? Oh, yeah, that happened at Ole Miss this year. Didn't work out so well for the Rebels.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if you're overstating the SEC portion of it, Phil, because I think fans are really confident in what Barry Odom can establish defensively based on his experience in the SEC. I think fans, to a degree, are excited about Sam Pittman because of his location, where he's been at Arkansas and Georgia and coached in the SEC. We saw a guy come in that didn't coach in the SEC. It failed. That's not the only reason he failed, but a lot of people point to the fact that that was one of the reasons. Saw it with Brett Bielema as well. Didn't coach in the SEC. Didn't have that. The degree of difficulty in this conference, until you actually coach in it, day in, day out, recruit in it, day in and day out, you can't understand it. And Dabo can chirp all he wants about the ACC and how he feels like he plays people, and they played Texas A&M and you hear this stuff, and you have other coaches across the conferences that think their respective conference is the same level as this one. It's not. You can't say that. It's been proven time and time again, regardless of the championships, the draft picks, the successful enough. It's just not the same degree of difficulty. So when you have a guy like you're mentioning with Odom that's coaching the SEC, you're a little more comfortable than with him than someone that hasn't. That's just the worrisome factor when you come to looking at these OC hires, Phil.
Well, you know, one thing about hiring Barry Odom as your defensive coordinator, it's the first time in 3 years since Arkansas had a coach on the football staff that has a win against an SEC team.
Wow.
It's been a while. We just didn't think it would be one of the coordinators that was that coach.
Yep.
Anyway, we continue to deliver some rib shots here and there, I guess. 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline. We got Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South at the bottom of hour number 2. Your calls and texts. And 3 Up, 3 Down makes a triumphant return on a Monday on halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine & Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Right now, at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith, they are giving the Chevy employee discount to everyone. You heard that right. Chevy employee discount for everyone on all remaining 2019 models in stock and select 2020 models. You cannot afford to miss out on this opportunity at Orr Chevrolet. Drive away in a 2019 Silverado for up to $13,000 off. Or how about a 2020 Spark for as low as $169 a month with approved credit? Or Chevrolet has the 2020 Equinox up to $6,000 off. Plus, with any new vehicle sold, Or Chevy will give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. Find new roads and get the Chevy employee discount at the River Valley's favorite, Or Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive, under the giant American flag, and always open 24/7 online at orchevyfs.com.
The second location for Whole Hog Cafe in Fort Smith is now open, located on the east side of town on Phoenix Avenue next to Dollar General and across from Interstate Batteries. Serving that award-winning Memphis-style barbecue and all your favorite sides Monday through Saturday, 11 till 8. Pickup orders for Whole Hog Cafe Phoenix Avenue can be placed at 646-2495 or at wholehogfortsmith.com. Whole Hog Cafe's second location on Phoenix Avenue is now open.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and B.F. Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and B.F. Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Weather overnight, pretty good chance of showers. Breezy, our lows 40 to 45. Monday looks cloudy and chilly. Rain or showers most of the day. Our highs in the low 40s north and low 50s south. Sunny and cooler on Tuesday, going up to about 40. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith. You can call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Hey, Coach Pittman, you got something to say?
Yeah, I do.
Go Hogs! Yes, sir!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
It is my pleasure to offer you the opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Arkansas.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo Pig Suey.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Second hour on a Monday. Kind of a quiet Monday today. Guess everybody got their opinions out about Sam Pittman and the coaching staff last week. Want to talk some basketball? Got some questions about the upcoming baseball season, football too. Get with us at 877-377-6963 for the Cherokee Casino hotline. Got one baseball note for you. It's funny, too, because it's like 2 months from the start of the season, and collegiate baseball came out with its top 40. Collegiate baseball stands out because they're the only poll that goes past 25 in the entire country for any sport that I'm aware of. They do top 40, and they've got Arkansas at number 9, Louisville ranked number 1, and defending national champion Vanderbilt number 2. They've got Arkansas third in the SEC West behind Mississippi State and Auburn, pretty much lined up, one right after the other, 7, 8, and 9. I'd be all right with the number 9 ranking to start the season. Of course, preseason polls matter not in college baseball.
5 SEC teams in the top 9, Phil. It just speaks to the just incredible talent that the SEC baseball has to offer. At times we talked about this. The SEC baseball is a harder slate than SEC football. If you actually get down to it, look at the numbers, look at the draft picks and all that, which is incredible because of how good SEC football is. But yeah, saw that little note today, and I figured you'd be a little excited about that because your hands are tingling just thinking about baseball season as we speak.
60 days until first pitch. That's 2 months exactly. I think we're within the window. We're within the window where I can start getting fired up about it. And also, now that I made it back home after 4 days in Fayetteville, I can finally start oiling the old baseball glove.
There you go.
That the Clay Goodwin got for me with my name in it. So I'm going to start oiling that puppy up and get it ready for the mano-a-mano, me versus Zach Arns.
Excited.
Yeah.
Big
saw
matchup ahead.
Saw Arns at the women's basketball game yesterday. He got some great seats from Coach Neighbors, sat in the Gucci seats, courtside first row, corner of the near the baseline, and that Rokia Dumbia block that we played the call, that hit like 2 seats away from Zach's daughter, who was sitting there with him. So, I mean, it's one of the things about getting Gucci row seats. You legitimately could become part of the basketball game.
Yeah, they're right there. So I don't think I've ever. Yeah, I'm trying to go through when I was a kid or anything. I don't think I've ever sat that close, like on the court, like courtside or whatever. But I have friends that have, and they said it's quite an experience for sure.
It's a lot of fun. All right, so over the weekend, the Heisman Trophy was given out. No suspense whatsoever, none at all. You've pretty much known this for, at least 5-6 weeks now. Of course, the competition for Joe Burrow on the field was pretty tough. So
Did you see his statistics against college football top 25 teams, or maybe it was top 10 teams, the graphic that ESPN put up?
Enlighten me, please.
It's like 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. His completion percentage was off the charts. I mean, this guy was the clear deserving Heisman Trophy winner. I know we're going to get into this debate with D-Mac in just a sec, but what he's been able to do has just been incredible. And this is the first time in a while where I thought the NFL MVP and the Heisman Trophy were locked up in November. Like Lamar Jackson, that's his trophy to lose unless he just throws 6 picks in these next 2 games. He's going to win the NFL MVP. People thought that Joe Burrow was going to win the Heisman Trophy based on what he did. Texas, Alabama, Florida, Auburn. It has just been incredible this year. And the fact that they haven't had a quarterback since Jamarcus Russell in 2006 goes to show how much more appreciated he is in Baton Rouge, Phil.
Congratulations, Joe. You might get to play for the Cincinnati Bengals, not far away from his hometown of Athens.
Did you see when Boomer Esiason on NFL Sunday gave him that, and he just kind of looked at it. It was like, and I saw a bunch of memes that was like, when you get socks for Christmas. Like, it was just one of those things where you're like holding it and you're like, I really don't want. It's like when Johnny Manziel got drafted by the Browns, there was a grimace at first and a frown, and then he realized he had to snap back into it and turn into a smile and stuff. So I don't think that many quarterbacks, much less players, want to be drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, Phil, in that situation.
I mean, the similarities between Burrow and Lamar Jackson can end with them winning their respective awards in the same season. I know probably all our listeners know about this crazy happenstance of the NFL MVP. Probably, if it is Jackson, then the NFL MVP is going to be younger than the Heisman Trophy winner.
Isn't that weird?
That's a difficult thing to wrap my mind around.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow's 23, and Jackson is 22. Burrow will go way earlier in the draft than Jackson does. Jackson was the 32nd overall pick. I mean, I think that's the same as Dan Marino when he went in the draft.
Really?
He went last in the first round. Oh, I mean, every team went past him. Let me tell you, too, you don't think that many of those teams right now with the quarterback issues that they might have had wouldn't have loved to made a quote-unquote mistake, maybe, of picking Lamar Jackson? I mean, the Steelers are like on their 4th quarterback.
Duck.
That's right, Duck.
Duck Hodges.
I guess Duck must mean throw 4 interceptions in some other foreign language.
He is known in Stuttgart, Arkansas. He's Hun Lodge or something that era. I was talking to my buddy Jay about it, that he's got a connection to Stuttgart, Arkansas. I don't remember what it was. But
well, if your nickname is Duck, I mean, why wouldn't you have some connection to the duck hunting capital of the entire world?
Seriously. So Saturday night, you have the Heisman Trophy presentation. It's a long, drawn-out process, an hour long, and
yes, and with me, and I hate award shows with utter white-hot passion. So I didn't watch a minute of this.
Okay. Well, so if you turn on like the last 5 minutes, then you'll see the announcements. If you want to do that, I watched it in its entirety, and there were several camera angles where I saw Troy Smith's picture. Tim Tebow was in attendance, and I just got so irritated and aggravated every time that I saw Tebow or Troy Smith's painting, because that brought me back to 2006 and 2007, where inexplicably you have Darren McFadden not get the Heisman Trophy either of those years, and there was a moving target when it comes to the justification for who deserved the award, because in 2006 you have the upperclassmen getting it because no sophomores ever run the Heisman Trophy. We can't give it to them. And then what happens next year? Tim Tebow, a sophomore quarterback, Darren McFadden, a junior upperclassman, they give it to the younger guy. And that was just so frustrating. And at that point in 2006, it was the highest differential, 91.6% between D-Mac and Troy Smith. So
that was the thing about that. And I'm not looking at the statistics or anything like that. I don't remember anything from Smith's Heisman campaign that was that remarkable, where you finish with such a discrepancy between the winner and the second place guy. It makes no sense.
I think
even to this day.
I think they beat Michigan in stellar fashion at the end of that year. It was a really close game with Tressel and Carr coaching against each other. And I think he might have had one really good Penn State touchdown where they won like 10-3. But as you're saying, I mean, there was moment after moment in 2006 and 2007 that you can remember Darren McFadden. Like in 2007, the Gators didn't even have a banner year. That wasn't the national championship year. Like, that's frustrating too to me. So I was reminded, unfortunately, on Saturday, and I'm sure Darren was very aggravated every time he watches it, thinking back. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's let it go. But I know a lot of Arkansas fans were still frustrated by the fact that guy, their guy, was not given the Heisman Trophy. And it would be, you know what would be even worse? Because Texas fans have talked about this. You know how Reggie Bush had to give his Heisman Trophy back?
Yes.
If something happened, nothing's going to happen with it, but if like something happened with like Tim or Troy Smith, where they cheated, or Ohio State or something, can you imagine how much more livid Arkansas fans would be if there was a scandal or something involved with one of those two quarterbacks and their